Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the June 16th meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Keen. Here. Lysick.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Here.
10 present.
A quorum is present. Please rise if you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderperson Grisham.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We move on to item D on our agendas. We have 3 public hearings this evening. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 1.
Ordinance to amend sections 12.06, 12.43, and 12.45 of the municipal code of the City of West Allis related to establishing a nominal price retail store definition and regulations.
Thank you. Mr. Scher?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, our first hearing tonight is a nominal price retail store ordinance. A nominal price retail store, in other words, dollar store. Mayor and the State Development Committee had directed staff to prepare an ordinance earlier this year, and that's what we're presenting to you tonight. Concerns with nominal price retail stores include that local retailers can't compete, forcing them to close, drops in sales. Furthermore, leading to a decline in employment. Example would be local grocers typically employ more persons than a dollar store or nominal price retail store. So it takes away from employment from, I guess, not only local grocers, but also local mom and pop shops. There's a higher than average rate of police calls relative to theft with respect to dollar stores, and then this all leads to the image. The image of our city is, in our brand, is vibrant, and one of the concerns here is that with all the other 3 points that I had mentioned, it leads to a negative image, and that's contrary to our mission and our strategic vision of our city. There's 6 current locations within the city, possibly a 7th on Highway 100 in Greenfield, but the 6 range in distribution from 70th in Greenfield, 71st in Lincoln, the 76th in the National area, 96th in Greenfield, and then an existing store also within the Southtown Shopping Mall at Highway 100 in Oklahoma. The ordinance itself, I guess the first part of it defines what a nominal price retail store is. And on the bottom, our definition is that it's a business that primarily offers or advertises for sale to the public inexpensive general merchandise at a price of $10 per item or less. The second part of the ordinance would be to limit the distribution and the location of nominal price retail stores within the C4 Regional Commercial Zoning District, which is indicated here in red. The extent of that portion of Highway 100 is roughly about 8,400 square feet from the south city limits to roughly Grant Street. And if you were to measure out both east from Highway 100 and then west from Highway 100, about 2,000 feet at the greatest points within that shape. The third point of the ordinance is to establish a separation clause between stores. So measured from a property line, store to store, you can't have a store in less than 1,000 feet from another store. It's a basic little graphic here that would show you, I guess, the 2,000-foot diameter or 1,000-foot radius of what that would be within that zoning district area. And just for consideration, just to show, one example, at the Highway 100 location, the Southtown Shopping Center, the image on the right shows what a 1,000-foot radius around measured from the property line would look like. and the one on the left, or I'm sorry, on the right shows 2,000-foot distance. You can see there is definitely a difference with what's proposed in our ordinance tonight is would extend up to, in this example, would extend up to National Avenue, and then south to about Euclid Street, west to almost Wilmer Road, and then east to about 101st, 102nd Street, this area. The one on the right just a little bit larger, just to give you a sense of scale. So the Plan Commission has recommended council approval of the ordinance before you this evening. There have been no objections to date, and if there are any questions at this point, I'm happy to hear those.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Chair. Are there any questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
Steve, I remember in the past we talked about these distance limitations on certain types of businesses. I believe this was check cashing locations, and that was under a previous city attorney. He had some objections. I assume our city attorney's office has looked at this already and says that this would be okay for us to do?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then I just wanted to bring up, so this doesn't really speak even to the ownership. I mean, the examples you show there are all national or regional chains, but it would even apply to a small independent retailer. That's correct?
It could, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just bring that up because I know we had in the second district some time ago, a small little store like this that was locally owned. And it was a real headache for the neighbors and the police. It's at the location, I believe, where Beecher Meats is now. So I just want to make sure that we're not, this would also apply to potentially small independently owned dollar stores.
It could if they meet the definition, correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the members of the Common Council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the members of the audience? Sorry if anyone's around that corner, I can't see you, so be vocal. Oh, it's just Ed. All right, hearing no questions or comments from the members of the audience, we will close our public hearing, our first public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
Resolution relative to the determination of application for a special use permit for outdoor dining extension of premise for Polly's Field Trip, an existing tavern located at 1430 South 81st Street and abutting parking lots located in the 1400 block of South 81st Street.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Polly's Field Trip has applied for a special use permit, and there was a discussion earlier this evening, the License and Health Committee, to address both this property as well as Polly's Pub, just a bit north here. And really, I mean, the special use is being presented tonight as Mr. Budiak had applied back in May, and since that time, there have been some changes in terms of the future licensing process, as well as the stipulations with which have been discussed earlier this evening for Polly's under his Class B license extension of premise. So I'm not really going to get into the details this evening in terms of the special use. A lot of that's already been discussed at License and Health this evening. But all of the properties you see here between Greenfield Avenue to 80, along 81st Street South, including the Field Trip, are zoned C2 commercial. Outdoor dining is traditionally a special use within the zoning code. As indicated, Mr. Budiak applied in May, and with License and Health determination tonight, there are going to be, obviously consideration of limits in terms of the dates of use, hours of operation, number of people, and the method for considering, any objections from the neighborhood. So, however, all that being said, Plan Commission has recommended approval on May 27th, and there have been no objections to date.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the members of the audience? If you have questions and comments, please come up to the podium here and then give us your name and address for our official record. And sign in on the, do we have the sign in, or are we just doing, just name and address, please.
Robert Backus, 1445 South 81st, right across the street from the bar. Is this going to be every night thing, food?
Mr. Sher, do you want to answer that?
I was not at the License and Health Committee meeting, fortunately, so I guess in terms of the special use, there were limitations on the hours of operation and so on. I guess I'd feel more comfortable if someone that was at the License and Health Committee meeting could perhaps comment on the question.
Because this bar is a nuisance bar to start with. There's complaints all the time as far as noise. I tried to get a copy of how many complaints there were. I know I personally have called at least 6 times.
Are you calling the police department?
Yes,
Okay, because I haven't gotten any calls.
no, well, you the alderman?
I'm over here. Mayor,
Oh, the mayor, yeah, well, do you want me to call you at night? I'll call you.
feel free. You wouldn't be the only one. Did somebody from License and Health want to comment or try to answer the question? I was not at the meeting either.
Mr. Mayor, I'll address that.
Alderperson Grisham.
We did put stipulations on the time frame. It is going to be operating exclusive to Sunday through Thursday, I believe, till 9 p.m. only, and then weekends till 10 p.m. And
Okay.
this is not just bands and things like that. Paulie is running a very reputable business. I haven't heard
Yeah,
any
he
complaints.
does run a very good business
Yeah. And,
on Greenfield.
right.
But this place is a nuisance.
Okay, well, I would like to assure you if there is a problem that you contact your alderman per your district, which would be Alderman Weigel and
Yeah,
Stefanski.
I'll
and you
definitely
can-
be getting a card from you.
You can discuss it because part of that stipulation also is that we are going to review this within 30 days.
Right.
And we can do that throughout the summer. So if there are ongoing issues in which the neighbors
Oh,
are
there's a ton of
impacted,
annoying issues.
we would like to know about it.
At 2 o'clock at night, when they close it down, then they're outside talking for another hour, yelling and that, swearing. It's no good. I've owned that building 50 years, and I'm retired now. What do you want me to do? Just keep calling? I'll keep calling.
Well, that would be the appropriate thing to do. If you
That'll
keep
be
calling,
fine.
then at least we can address it if it is a continuous issue.
Because I'll be calling until your ears bleed.
Okay. And thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this public hearing item?
You want my name?
Please.
Sean Radecki. I live at 1419 South 80th. There aren't that many adjacent properties, residential, but I'm one of them. I can stand on my porch at 2 in the morning after closing time and hear conversations from the parking lot with Paulie's of the main bar. So the thought of having all that move one lot closer to me, you can see why I wouldn't be that attracted to it. I assume this is a foregone conclusion. I got this in my mail an hour ago, or I would never have known about this meeting. There's not much I could be told to placate me at this point. Last summer, I had a complaint, and I had a member of this panel visit me and assure me, stand in my parking lot and shake my hand and assure me the person I complained about was from a contractor and not a city employee. And the next day, I saw that person I complained about walk next door to Tompkins and repay cash for an overpaid permit. So that doesn't add up. Nonetheless, I'm here. My wife and I call twice a week during the summers because they can't keep their doors shut when they're playing live music in the existing venue. They don't adhere to existing ordinances, so we're supposed to put new guidelines in place for a new venue? On what pretense that that'll work? At whose expense? Working people have to get up the next morning. See where I'm coming from? My neighbor and I, directly adjacent to me, we have fence damage that precedes my having the property. But my snow plows and my customers didn't back into it. It's leaning into my yard. It might be my fence. I didn't do the damage. My wife gets hung up on trying to call so she can get to bed in the morning, so she can get to bed and get up and work in the morning. Paulie himself is hung up on her. I can't think of anything I didn't say. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your comments. Any other comments or questions? And please give us your name and address as well.
Catherine Shaw, 1445 South 81st Street. I'd like to tell you about Paulie's field trip. I know Paulie runs the city bus to go and take people down to the Brewers game since he has his shuttles now. But 2 years ago, Paulie, which I am not very pleased about, I lived upstairs and I saw some of your patrons.
Ma'am, would you like to address the council or not?
Well, sure.
Okay.
But they ended up going in my backyard, they pulled down their pants, and they peed by my tree. I stood out on my back porch, and I said, you all just got off of Paulie's bus, you cannot go up and go to the bathroom up in his facility? Paulie's field trip, I could tell you everything that every woman did in that bar or did with that man in the bar. I would like for all of you to come into my home at 10 o'clock at night while I have my TV on 20, but his patrons do not have the common courtesy for us residents that live there. I have to turn my TV up to 40 to hear my TV with my windows closed, my air conditioner on, or even if I have my windows open this much, I can still hear his patrons. Between the driveway to Paulie's field trip and the driveway to the apartment building, that is all people that work, and that carries. Now, when Lois's Derby was there, we all went outside and had a cigarette, but we all used our invoice because it travels. I can tell you about what a girl did to a guy and what a guy did to this girl because it travels. Now, if he's gonna put up a border or something to have it cave in where the noise is gonna stop, it's not. I mean, they all park down on 81st Street, and when they come out, heck, I go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I get up early on Saturday, but I don't because Paulie's field trip is open until 2:30. So I don't go to bed until the bars close. Because after the bars close, they're all out there talking. During State Fair, at 10 o'clock at night, if you're having loud music, the doors are supposed to be closed. The front door ain't supposed to be open, the back door ain't supposed to be open. At 10 o'clock, if you're playing music in your bar, it should be closed. So we don't have to hear it. Even when the doors are closed, I can still hear his music in my house. There's no reason for that jukebox to be up so loud that the whole neighborhood has to hear. I wish more people from 1446 was here to make more complaints about this because they are on the side of where Paulie's field trip is, and that's the apartment building, and there's a house there. I wish more of them were there. I'm sorry, Paulie, but this has got to stop. So many people have asked you, asked Christine, for you guys to please talk to your patrons when they leave out of the building. Please have the common courtesy to respect my neighbors. And it hasn't happened. I am tired of it. I've lived in my home for about 15 years, and I don't think I have to keep putting up with all this stuff and calling the cops and flagging down the cops during State Fair because your music is up too loud at 10 o'clock at night. There's once or twice I'll forget it because it is State Fair. But, excuse my language, damn, I don't want to sit in my backyard and listen to his music. I can listen to his music in my backyard. I can hear his people talking in my backyard. And I'm directly across the street from them. So something's got to stop. He cannot have this happen. He's got a nice place up on 81st, which there's patios out there. Have your customers go there. I don't know what else to say. I wish more people were here. If I have to call the alderman, I'll call them. I'll just need your number. But I've called the cops. Nobody wants to make a petition about this because they're all afraid. So that's what I got to say.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions from the audience?
Hi, Al Michaels, 1423 South 80th Street, on the townhouse right adjacent to the bar right there. I just want to concur with the other people. The noise is just out of hand. The only good thing about COVID-19 this year was that it took away the spring opening the doors where the music's blaring and the people are shouting outside. We didn't have that this year because of the virus. The bar was shut down. But the music's always playing. Someone here said call the alderman, call the cops. Doesn't matter. I don't think we have a noise ordinance in this city because nothing ever happens. And it just, I got a neighbor next to me that has a baby. And I know they complain about it too. So now you're just going to add more noise to the,
We do have a noise ordinance.
so, well,
So-
I don't know. They don't do anything about it, so.
Oh.
Like I said.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions or comments from the members of the audience? Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 3.
On the 2020-2021 Class B Tavern License Application for the Holiday Inn Express, West Allis, premises located at 10201 West Lincoln Avenue, in regard to exceeding the Class B Tavern license quota.
Thank you. Mr. Scher?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the new hotel on 102nd and Lincoln Avenue. And the application, the license application is to exceed the quota. It's a self-imposed quota of 30 for a Class A license. That's prepackaged or packaged consumption on site. And I guess for the mini bar for the hotel within that building. So, if there are any questions?
Any questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
Steve, so you mentioned mini bar, and that falls under the Class B? Mini bars in the rooms falls under a Class B license?
I'm sorry, yeah, it is a Class B tavern license, and it is, when I understand it, is the mini bar within the rooms if they have alcohol service from the refrigerator. That is the purpose of the license to exceed.
And they're not going to have a conventional lounge or restaurant on the ground
Not
floor?
that I'm
like-
aware of, no.
Okay, so I guess I'm just, I had never thought about it. A Class B is typically what we call a tavern license, or like you see a restaurant where there's a licensed bartender serving alcohol to patrons. But the mini bar alcohol, is the patrons just self-serve any time of the day or night in their room? Yes?
Yes, yeah.
So it could be 4 a.m.? Is there a time lock on that? I guess
I would have to defer to the application, which isn't before me, but we could review that.
There is a
with the city clerk.
gentleman here who's the, I believe, general manager, if you want to come up to the microphone. And we'll need your name and info also, please.
Hi, my name is Yakub Kalodi. I'm the general manager of the Holiday Inn Express. And to answer your question, sir, we won't be having like mini bar inside of the rooms. It will be served out of our gift shop. And so guests will have to come down to the gift shop to purchase any alcoholic beverage. It won't be available to them in their rooms. We will go with the standard cutoff time of, I believe it's 2 a.m. for alcohol sales, and we'll make sure our staff is trained to make sure there's no purchases after that time frame. And then the most we'll get out of serving is maybe occasionally if we have a outing, or I'm sorry, not outing, a social gathering for the hotel, we'll maybe have some beer on tap or anything like that. But at no point will we be putting alcohol in the fridges in the rooms.
Okay. So there'll be essentially one big mini bar, and you'll have a licensed bartender there all the time. One of your staff will have to be a
Yes,
licensed
correct.
bartender.
Yep.
And familiar with the rules. And then, but you will be doing like, is there a meeting space there? There's not a hall for rent. This is just,
Right, it's a small meeting
Holiday Inn
space.
Express,
It's nothing where you'll have like a party or something happening. It's more of some kind of small meeting that a company would like to have. For social gatherings, the brand IHG, sometimes they ask us, for our members that come, for the loyalty rewards, have a small social gathering where they can come down, have a cup of beer or a glass of wine while they enjoy some kind of small hors d'oeuvres or something like that.
okay. And then just for a point of reference, this is a brand new constructed building.
Correct.
Do you have a ballpark on what the cost was on the construction?
That is on the upstairs, guys.
Somebody knows. Steve might know.
I'll follow up with you after we have that. Yeah.
And approximately how many jobs?
Currently, we have about 10 employees.
Is that FTEs or you have?
FTEs right now,
Okay,
yep.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the members of the Common Council? Seeing none, if there are any questions from the members of the audience, please come to the microphone and also give us your name and address.
Mr. Griesmer, Gerald. I live at 2367 South 98th Street, West Allis. City was founded in 1906. My father was born then. He's a long-established, highly respected citizen of the community, carpenter, contractor, and builder. I do not object to granting Holiday Inn Express Class B license. I think we need to put a hold on this, however. I do have some reservation under the current situation. And to cut to the chase is, my folks moved out here in 1938. And I know the city plows didn't go beyond National Lincoln. And National Lincoln had a single lane either way, no boulevard. The Iron Bridge just a half block away from the hotel. Would have lasted a lifetime, but no, they had to put concrete in there and put 3 lanes either way. And that only lasts 50 years, so that costs another $1 million every 50 years. Probably in 50 years from now, it'll cost $2 million. And of course, the interurban ran north and south just east of the Iron Bridge. I remember on that site when it was a Frederick's topsoil. I grew up out here. There was hardly any traffic, and it was the edge of town. Then it was the town of Greenfield. And I'd wish you'd give it back to the town of Greenfield. There was no rebuttal when they tore down the 5-story Weir Steel building. And I like the fact that Holiday Inn situated their hotel way far to the south. So it has a nice nod up, near Lincoln Avenue. And I walk down there quite frequently every week. And I took an assessment, so I would estimate that they got approximately half acre of land along Lincoln Avenue. Now, when the Weir Nature Center was there, the first thing they did was cut down 7 beautiful locust trees. The leaves are so pretty. They give a filtered light and a nice gentle breeze through there. Why did you people ever permit that? The city of Greenfield boasts about being the city of trees. Well, when they built the new YMC on the northwest corner of Howard and Beloit Road, They put new asphalt in there. I don't know if they put curbs in there, but as Howard runs east and west, there are no curbs there. It's more like a country road. There was this gorgeous tree. They boast about being the city of trees, and they cut that down. It didn't interfere with the road at all. Now you have no landscape architect, even if he's hired to work part-time, or an architectural consultant. I'm a carpenter too. I do rough and finish. I like doing layout work, and I primarily focus on renovation or restoration of historic houses. I'm also an architectural consultant. I do landscaping. I'm a writer, and I'm a self-proclaimed local historian. So I got a few years under my belt. The thing I primarily want to focus on is, and I don't want to be presumptuous about this because that might be in their works, in the future works, that half acre of land. You know, a little strip of landscaping, which is nice but limited. And just a suggestion, I thought it would be real nice if sometime in the future that they would put an irregular perimeter, a lake with a fountain in the center, and then some nice trees, again, locust, shagbark hickory, oak, Japanese maples, real pretty, and they're survivors. Right now, there are no trees on the property. We've got 2 lanes and a parking lane, and there are 5 slabs to where you enter and exit on the Lincoln Avenue side. So that's 5 slabs, 5 foot length. That's 25 feet. There's no need to alter that entryway. I would keep the entryway, but no exit onto Lincoln Avenue. The traffic is horrendous. The police department is on 113. They go lickety-split all day long. Morning traffic to work, and when work leaves out, and that exit there is only 1 block away from the bridge. So entryway, I don't see any conflict, and like I said, they don't have to take up the curbs, asphalt, etc., narrow it down unless they choose to, but whoever enters there has access to the parking lot to the west and to the east of the building, and then they can enter underneath the canopy to the entrance there. But please, no exit there. We've got so much traffic on Lincoln Avenue, and National is just as bad. National is just as bad. And that sign on National, by the way, I wasn't going to bring this
Mr.
up.
Griesmer, I'm sorry, this public hearing is about the tavern license quota for this hotel, so if I can bring you back to keep you on track on the public hearing topic.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, lady.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on public hearing number 3 from our studio audience? Okay, seeing none, we will close our 3rd public hearing. Moving on to item E, our standing committees will be meeting during recess. They will be meeting in this room. Item F is the mayor's report. I do not have a mayor's report this evening, other than just quickly congratulating all the graduates, all the seniors from our high schools as they move on to the next chapter. Item G is the opportunity for alderpersons to give a report. Do any members of the council have a report this evening?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel.
just a quick comment. as fun as those Zoom meetings were, it's really good to be back in the room with everybody face to face and
Agreed.
working together. Thank you.
Alderman Devine.
Alderman Devine? Did I get
I'm
pr-
sorry,
promoted?
Alderman Devine, Mayor Devine, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I was thinking Alderman Wagle.
Demoted.
Yeah, so demoted. I wanted to thank the departments and specifically Rebecca for working so hard through this COVID, putting together all those meetings. As much as I enjoy sitting here versus the Zoom meetings, this took a lot of work and effort to put this together to make sure we're all in one room and being respectful and following recommendations and guidelines. So just wanted to kind of give you guys a nod on that. So thank you.
Thanks. Any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of June 2nd, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any, or are there any adjustments or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unopposed? Minutes are approved. I'll ask for a motion to refer items 5 and 6 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Lysick, second by Alderperson Ranky. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item J, we have no standing committee reports this evening.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in recess.
And we're staying.
Okay, and then we're gonna stay here?
I don't know.
Yep, okay. Thank you. So then, our recess meetings will begin, and I will call the Administration and Finance Committee to order. All 5 members are present. For item 7, a resolution approving the application to the Board of Commissioners for Public Lands to borrow $1.325 million from state trust funds. We've been directed by staff that they don't need to do that, that we can place that on file. And so accordingly, can I have a motion to place on file?
Move to place item 7 on file, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we have a motion from Alderman Lysick, and Alderman Weigel will second.
I'll second.
And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 8 is a resolution relative to accepting the proposal of CalAmp for furnishing and delivering GPS equipment for monitoring and tracking city vehicles for an annual sum of $34,560.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Weigel, second from Alderman Lysick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 9 is a resolution to approve a commercial facade improvement project contract by and between the City of West Allis and C-Slack Enterprises at 7133 West Beecher in the amount up to $5,136.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Weigel, second from Alderman Lysick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 10, a resolution to consider an obligation of repayment to Health and Urban Housing, and that's Housing and Urban Development, HUD, regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program. Who wants to tell us about this? Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was the home security program that the city ran through the police department. When our program was audited, HUD did not like the way that the records were kept for the hours of the police department. So they disallowed it. And so we're just going to repay back the block grant program.
And how much is that?
I think it was in like 5,000, 2,000, somewhere, less than $5,000.
Okay. Any further questions for Mr. Stiebel?
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Weigel, second from Alderman Tenorio. And any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 11, resolution to consider the transfer of closeouts related to Neighborhood Stabilization Program to the Community Development Block Program Fund. John, I don't think you should have sat down. Can you tell us about that one too? Or someone?
Essentially, we're just closing out that program. It was a federal grant that we received several years ago, and the program is completed, and so we're closing it out.
Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Alderperson Keene and a second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 12, resolution authorizing the purchase of one unmarked Ford Explorer replacement squad not to exceed $35,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion from Alderman Lysick, second from Alderperson Keene. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 13, a resolution approving a 2-year extension and amendment of intergovernmental emergency services agreement for emergency medical services between Milwaukee County and the City of West Allis.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Lysick, a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 14, resolution authorizing the city administrator clerk to enter into a contract professional service agreement with a firm providing temporary finance staffing for a total sum not to exceed $35,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Lysick and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 15, communication from city administrators submitting 2021 budget and capital planning calendar.
Move the communication be placed on file.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Lysick, second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 16 is a discussion regarding a request by the Farmer's Wife LLC to settle outstanding debt. And would someone from staff like to talk to us? Mr. Stiebel's coming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware of, the Farmer's Wife has gone out of business. We had 2 loans with her. The first was for $50,000, and they were a forgivable loan.
Wait, 50?
50.
50,000, thank you.
$50,000. And it was going to be forgiven if she stayed in business for 5 years. Well, she stayed in business a little over 3 years, so $30,000 of that has been forgiven, so there's still $20,000 outstanding. There were job requirements in there. I think there were 6 jobs to be created, and she met those job requirements. At the same time, there was also a straight loan of $15,000, and she's making regular payments on that. I think she still owes about $11,000 on that, and job creation has also been met.
Yeah, and I would suggest to the committee that
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, please, yes, City Attorney.
Mr. Chair, with this one, there have been discussions with our office with the individual who is just looking to potentially settle the debt. And I've got some specific numbers if the council wants to hear them. But essentially, she'd be paying back approximately 3 to 4 times what she would have paid in interest had she continued for 2 more years. So the way that those forgivable loans work is as long as you make interest payments monthly for a certain number of time, then the whole balance of the principal is forgiven. $30,000 was forgiven, $20,000 was to be forgiven. So basically what you're doing is in a year and a half, the city would have gotten another $700 or so in interest, and then the balance would have been forgiven. Instead, she's offering to pay back about $2,600, so an additional $1,900 over what she would have paid, basically as compensation for not completing that term of the contract. And then also, in addition to that, paying back the full balance to the TID of $10,355. So ultimately, it'd be about a $13,000 payment in order to settle the debt entirely, paying, I guess, a premium for the purpose of ending the contract or not completing the contract as originally transacted.
So my initial thought was to say, well, this is what the bankruptcy code is for as a lawyer, that if somebody wants, in this situation, wants a debt forgiveness from us, that's what the bankruptcy code is for. However, then I just heard from Kale, and that changed my mind. and I'm not afraid to admit that. So that sounds reasonable to me, what you had proposed in your discussions with the individual, Attorney Decker, and I'm looking for some thoughts from the rest of the committee.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderman Lysick.
I would move that we settle per terms the city attorney presented to us.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Well, this is just a discussion, so we're gonna place it on file, but with direction to the city attorney to accept what the proposal as you had outlined. Does everyone understand that, what we're doing here then?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
I understand. I mean, it's a tough spot, and we're in an unsecured position, right? I mean, we're not going to get blood out of a stone anyways, so this person is being forthcoming with their predicament and just trying to make us as whole as they can, essentially.
That is my understanding, is that there are other debts that are also out there. This would be one way for the city to recover the hard $10,300 that was loaned, and also get a small premium on the interest that would have been paid, sort of as an exchange of the time that business should be in operation.
And what's the projected timeline on this? Is this going to be one balloon payment from this, or would this going to be over time?
This would be a single payment made to settle the debt.
Okay, thank you.
And then, Mr. Chair,
Yes, please, Attorney Decker.
given the circumstances as of late, I anticipate other requests like this may come through if there are other creative financing arrangements with the city. How would the committee like our office to present these in the future? Would you like us to present negotiated settlements? Would you like to come to the council with ideas? How would you proceed, or advise us to proceed?
And my thought is to present negotiated settlements to us, and what you, in your discretion, find reasonable and fair, finding that some money is better than zero money, obviously.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Alderman Weigel.
Could we put a cap on that, though? I think in the past, we've had similar things like this that were over $100,000, and I think maybe...
I think everything would be approved by us.
But at the negotiation point, though, rather than him, I mean, I guess you're right, everything still is approved by us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would this be the kind of thing that would be done in closed session as a negotiation, as finishing it?
It could be, yes. So especially if there is a significant amount of public dollars at risk, then a closed session would be appropriate. The amount here was relatively modest compared to other deals that the city has done, and so while closed session could have been used in this one, it was not in this case.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so any further discussion on this? And we have a motion and a second to place on file. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 17, can I have a motion to place the Finance Director Comptroller report on file?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Lysick and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to item 18, a resolution granting selective waiver of interest and penalties associated with late payment. I'm not going to read the rest of it. The recommendation is to place on file. Can
So
I
move.
have a motion to place
Second.
on file? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And items 19 and 20 will take together the summons and complaint in the matter of Sam's Real Estate Business Trust versus City of West Allis. Attorney Decker.
Mr. Chair, this was the item that came back before the committee in April, of which our office was given direction. The matter has been settled, and so all I'd ask is for the council to vote to settle the matter and impose an assessment value on this property for 2017 and 2018 of $9 million, and then issue an order for staff to proceed with that evaluation and process the refund.
Okay, can I have that motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion from Alderperson Keene, second from Alderman Lysick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Yeah, I think I should approve the minutes. Yeah, thank you. I'll remember. And then we have item 20A is on our supplemental agenda. Let me make sure I read that whole thing since not everyone has the supplemental agenda. It's the summons and complaint by West Allis Hotel Ventures alleging a excessive 2019 assessment of the property for 8201 West Greenfield Avenue. And Attorney Decker.
Mr. Chair, this involves the Hampton Inn on Greenfield and 82nd. The assessed value was registered at $13.1 million. Upon negotiating with the owner of the property, additional information came to light that resulted in more expenses than what were originally anticipated or originally reported. At least in the format that it was reported, it gets a little confusing with the accounting records. But once you put in the correct expense numbers, the ultimate valuation of the property goes from $13.1 million to approximately $9.1 million. I believe it's $9,165,500 from memory, I believe. And so I would ask that the council approve this claim for an excessive assessment. There's a lawsuit currently pending, and so authorizing our office to settle by setting the assessed value at that amount.
Can I have a motion from the committee?
So moved.
A motion from Alderman Weigel, and I think I heard a second from Alderman Lysick. We'll take it. And any discussion on this?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
that's part of a TIF, if I recall. And I know we have another hotel working in a TIF, and I just wanted to make sure that we're not going to find ourselves in the same position where we're relying on, I guess maybe that's not specific to this item. I understand the problems of the hotel business currently, and hopefully we're going to have a V recovery out of this COVID thing. I assume that's what a lot of this is connected to, is the coronavirus situation?
Actually, it is not.
Oh, so this goes back to pre-corona?
Correct. This is a 2019 assessment.
Oh, that's right, so that would have
Even-
been,
Even
yeah.
the 2020 assessment.
Won't be
is
coronavirus,
not a
that's right.
coronavirus impact because
Yeah.
it's effective January 1st.
Yeah.
So none of the assessments were changed for coronavirus issues as of this year due to the timing. Obviously, January 1st of 2021, we'll see where the economy is at.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then one last housekeeping matter is for the Administration and Finance Committee, we need to approve a boatload of our minutes. So I'll read this quickly. I would appreciate a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings of April 29, January 13, January 21, February 4th, February 19, March 3, March 17, April 22, May 5, May 12, May 11, May 19, and June 2nd, 2020.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you for that. And anything else to properly come before Administration and Finance? Have a motion to adjourn Administration and Finance.
So move.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Lysick, second from Alderman Weigel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay, Public Works is now in session. All 5 members are here. We'll start out with item 21, resolution to approve bid of Green Bay Pipe and TV LLC for the closed-circuit TV inspection of sanitary and storm sewer at various locations in the amount of $87,378.40.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. And then item 22, resolution authorizing the city engineer to amend an existing 2019 construction contract with State Contractors Incorporated for the reconstruction of the concrete alley pavement and storm underdrain in the alley from South Buchanan Place to South 69th and from West Beloit Road to West Arthur Avenue in an amount of $23,866.67.
So move to approve.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion, we adjourn.
Second. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Safety and Development Committee will come to order. All members are present. First item on the agenda is item 23. This is a resolution for a 60-day extension until August 18th, 2020 of a temporary moratorium on warehousing, self-storage uses, vehicle and equipment sales and/or rental within an area east of State Highway 100, South 100th Street. to the existing railroad right-of-way and from Washington Street to North City limits.
Move approval.
Second.
I understand there was someone that wanted to speak, address the committee this evening on this matter. Is that person here?
I am, yes, this is,
He's on the phone.
excuse me, this is Alex Sunliner, Marketing Company President with U-Haul.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Well, I guess more of a comment. I would just ask you guys to reconsider this extension after several months of working with the Zoning and Planning Committee to purchase the property at 800 South 108th Street, the old Hobo property. We bought this in good faith after 10 or 15 conversations with zoning, to now find that a moratorium was put in place roughly a month after we purchased the property. So we had an attempt to, well, we spent $3.7 million on the property itself, with an additional $3 million or more going into reevaluating the site, new imaging, fixing the roof, getting it back to, operating shape. As we go to submit plans, we then find out a moratorium was put in place. Of course, from our perspective, it appears that this happened very quickly after our purchase. Again, I understand this was worked on for a number of months, maybe even a year, as I've heard before. I would ask just for some help in this matter, because over a 4-month period, we were never given any insight that this was going to take place, that there was a thought this was going to take place, even though the city of West Allis knew we were under contract, was aware of what was happening, and then this was put into place.
Mr. Scheer or Mr. Stiebel, do you have any comments on this proposal?
Thank you, Alderman Lysak. The council approved the Highway 100 corridor plan in February of earlier this year. Subsequently, as a result of some of those recommendations, a moratorium was imposed by Common Council on April 22nd. That is set to expire at the end of this month, if it's not extended another 60 days. I have not been in contact with the caller previously, with the exception of just last week. So if he's contacted someone else, that's a possibility. But as of right now, under the current manufacturing zoning district, self-storage is a permitted use as long as you have a 2-acre size lot. But with the moratorium, that stops all permits, and we're going to be taking a look at rezoning roughly 8 properties along this stretch of Highway 100, the North Gateway, per the recommendations of the Highway 100 corridor plan and our comprehensive plan, which calls for this area to be rezoned commercial. That'll be coming back before the council in July.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are there any other comments from any of the alderpersons or anyone else? If not, it's been moved and seconded for the extension. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 24 on your agenda is an ordinance to amend Section 1206, 1243, and 1245 of the Municipal Code related to establishing a nominal price retail store definition and regulations. This is the ordinance that was proposed, and we had a hearing on it this evening.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderperson Keene, seconded by Alderman Haas. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
this ordinance does not affect any of the existing businesses that are here. They're all grandfathered,
Correct.
correct? So this is only for new
Correct, for
businesses
new
going forward.
businesses.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 25 on the agenda is a resolution relative to determination of an application for special use permit for outdoor dining extension of premises for Paulie's Field Trip and existing tavern located at 1430 South 81st Street and the abutting parking lots located in the 1400 block of South 81st Street.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, in light of the neighbor testimony here today during the public hearing portion of this, I have to vote no on this. Given the fact that the neighbors have difficulty living with it, they're the important ones that have to deal with it night after night. Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to extend the premises and do what is proposed.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
if I could comment on this, a couple things. I'd like to say that when I met with the applicant on site 10 days ago, maybe, the applicant attested that all the neighbors love him. Clearly, that's not the case. Well, the neighbors also have expressed multiple complaints about the location. No one's ever called me about Polly's, I'll say that. My number is 414-704-6350. I'm usually up till 10 p.m. I believe it was the past 8 years I was on the License and Health Committee. I don't believe ever did we get a report regarding Polly's and noise issues. So either the police didn't determine them to raise to the point where it needed to come to the committee, or maybe complaints weren't made as frequently as some people remember. It does concern me very greatly that we had, I know what it takes for people to come to a meeting like this and stand up and complain, especially when they know the guy they're complaining about. I mean, Polly, these are your neighbors, you know? So, yeah, I think we need to look at this more closely, and I don't think I can support this. And I'll even say, I know Polly's sitting here, when we were standing in your parking lot, I said, well, you know, that's why we have to have that meeting on the 16th. I said, I want to hear from the neighbors. I want to know how they feel. And they came out and told us tonight. So we're going to have to revisit that field trip application.
Okay, is there any response that I can make at all, or is that not?
It's up to the committee chair if you are allowed to make a response or not. Typically, we request that if you want to speak to the committee, you ask ahead of time.
We can talk later, Polly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have to work later or.
Mr. Chair?
No, yeah. I mean, I think it had also, it did blindside me too, so.
Alderman Stefanski.
Just want to let you know, the last year that I've been on, and now since being reelected for the 4-year term, I have not gotten one complaint from any neighbors about Polly's. So anybody who's here wants my card before the end of the day, see me and I'll give you one. Otherwise, my phone number is 414-750-4867, and I'm up till 10 o'clock as well. So thank you.
What is the pleasure of the committee on this item?
Table it, hold it? What's the procedural difference, Mr. Chair?
You could table it. You can table it to the next meeting, hold it till the next meeting, whatever motion you
Well,
want
the
to
next
make.
meeting's a month, correct?
Month away.
Okay. But we do have this new Mr. Chair, if I could continue?
Yes.
We do have this new expedited process, right? I'm looking for a nod from Steve or somebody, or the city attorney's here.
So the options are either to approve, deny, or you could move to postpone this item to a specific time, the next meeting being July 14th, I believe. There also is this expedited process that could be passed tonight. The way it's worded, though, is that the council still has to approve those applications.
Oh, that's
anyway.
right. So nothing.
It wouldn't happen to the 14th anyway.
Yes.
So it's really however, if the committee wants to approve today or wait to the 14th, both are options.
I don't think we could approve it. I don't think I could vote in favor of it today. We need to find some other solution here, I believe.
Mr. Chair.
Well, Alderman Vitale.
Yeah, we, in License and Health tonight, we basically went through with that, and I believe it was approved, but was something new tonight during citizen participation about the public hearing in reference of Polly. I mean, there was nothing in front of me or the other members of the committee. I understand Mr. Polly been operating for the last 15 years. As far as I knew, there was no complaints, that I knew about it, really. So we went through all the work to process, questions was given, and try to make things perhaps working, which we did approve the the event, for the, during the week, at up to 10 p.m., 9 p.m., and then on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 10 p.m. So was something new tonight that I hear 3 residents or 4, they spoke, about the questions of the nuisance, that has been occurring almost every night, by having the doors open. So again, that's new to me. So but we did approve the events permits, or applications, so I don't know how we can deviate now the fact to holding it until July 14. I don't know how, we could do that, we could do anything, but is that fair really at this point for us to hold this matter another month? Less than a month, to me, is not really the right thing to follow, in all fairness, for the applicant, really. I never met Mr. Pauly at all. I never talked to him. I just talked to him last time when we had video conference, but personally, I never really met him, so I don't know what kind of operator he was, as far as I know. Until a few minutes ago, I heard something else. There's been some complaints at that establishment. So to me, that's new, So some of this information maybe should have been known ahead of time, which should put out to do it. The residents probably didn't get the chance to come forward. But the question stands now. To me, it's not fair. We can deny the whole thing. We could do that. That's up to the council. But the fact is, it's not fair that we approve the event, and now we're going to hold them hostage for until July 14 for the next council meeting.
Alderman Vitale, I understand what you're saying, and I somewhat agree with your logic, because we have the expedited procedure, which Mr. Pauly didn't apply for because he had this application in. A number of other establishments applied for the expedited procedure. They're going to be maybe approved tonight and be able to proceed, where we're going to be holding up Mr. Pauly for another month. And just because he didn't fill out the right application, or the application that would have helped him tonight.
Mr. Chair?
Alder, I didn't see what it was. I can't see.
It was a photo finish.
It's the Bobsey twins over here.
Alderperson Grisham?
That it is. As a member of License Committee, we spent a good amount of time speaking with Pauly about this, and one of my biggest concerns was the fact that there are a lot of neighbors, and we were assured, Mr. Budiak gave us many assurances that there were no issues with neighbors. And I too have to kind of circle back. Had this information been presented, my opinion, my decisions would have been different, definitely. I think in fairness, if one of the neighbors said that they just got the notice an hour ago, there's a misstep somewhere on notification, for one. And secondly, I think we should have had a public hearing where they had that opportunity before it was presented, and we spent basically 2 special call meetings to discuss these details. It was a lot of time that we put into it as a committee. So I don't know where the guidance is on this either, being we already made that vote, and now these are special circumstances. I would like to review it.
And Alderperson Grisham, Attorney Decker, as long as you're up there, I thought we made changes in this process some months back so that the hearing for the special use and the liquor license would all be at the same time, and not that the liquor license is being acted on by one committee at one time, and then we have a public hearing on a special use where we hear neighbor complaints. So we were putting the cart before the horse, and I thought we took care of that some months ago.
I believe under the standard process, the special use permit hearing process only comes into play if someone's not already operating. The field house does not have a special use permit, it's a
Okay.
grandfather clause, so to extend the premises, they had to come for special use. On
Okay.
top of that, because of the circumstances and the expedited nature in which we were trying to get this permit before the council for consideration, my guess is that timing was partially the delay. That's the reason as to why.
So then we could amend this provision to take out the field house and say that you can operate out of Paulie's Tavern if we so desired.
Those are two separate license applications and extension premises applications.
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Road.
can we approve this through July 14th and then have a fresh look at our council meeting?
Legally, that would be an option as well. If you do so, you understand that it's an extension of current licensed premises. So if anything would happen in which the council felt as though discipline was necessary against the licensee, it would actually impact the entire business. It would not just result in the extended premises area. So just want to make sure the council's aware of that you can't bifurcate that in case there is a disciplinary action against the license.
Yep.
At the License and Health Committee, we, in theory, approved him through, I think it was Labor Day weekend. So we took that, I don't even think it's a risk. We're giving him an opportunity to better his business. So I think if we did July 14th and had a fresh look at that council meeting, I think that would
My interpretation of what the committee did earlier tonight was approval till September, till Labor Day, if I understood it, and then weekends after that. There's a 30-day review period, which, again, if it's approved until September with a review period, all that review period does is create an opportunity to schedule a hearing to revoke ahead of time. If you would approve it until July and nothing further, then the council could simply take no action and the extension of premises would expire. It does not create that property interest through September, it would create it only through July 14th. The council would then have to take action to approve it again for any further dates. That would be more in line with the proposed ordinance tonight, in that every expedited licensee is going to be under that situation, in which they're only going to be approved until the next regular council meeting. And if anyone has any issues during the time between approval and the next council meeting, the council would simply amend that item on the agenda to remove that licensee, and without a hearing, they just simply would not get another shot at the license extension premises.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
I don't think I could support, I'd rather that we worked out the details between now and the 14th. You know, we had 3 neighbors stand up here sending a very clear message that went against what we believe the current situation is. I guess I'd like to see actual police calls, see what really the state of what's going on there. I'm not trying to throw a hairball into Paulie's thing, because I know if he's going to rent tents and all that, I believe you have in our conversations, you said you'd be renting like a 30-day block, you know, having him come put the tents up and all that. And he wants to book bands and arrange all the other things you want to do there, bags, tournaments, all that has to happen. I just don't think I can in good conscience. I mean, why are we having public hearings if we're not going to listen to the public when they come? That's my take on it.
The chair is waiting for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Alderperson Keene.
I would like to kind of add to all of it. I mean, License and Health went through it with time set. 3 citizens did stand up and voice their concerns, but after it's also been said of how many years that they did not show up on a police report, aldermans did not get calls, the mayor did not get calls, so I don't know, maybe was it just not the proper avenues that the citizen went through for us to find this out? So I guess what are we reevaluating on July 14th besides police reports? Are we waiting just to see if what's been called or when or how many times? I would tend to disagree. I think that the citizens have a very valid point, and I think that the point of them to stand up is definitely to be heard. But I would move to go along the lines of approving it, then revisiting it on July 14th. That's just my personal thought on it.
Again,
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Alderperson Grisham.
Kind of in line to what Alderwoman Keene had just stated. Now, given Mr. Budiak the opportunity because going forward, your business isn't going anywhere. And my suggestion, as Alderman Weigel would be, is we do have to be neighborly. We have to be considerate of those that live around. And it's a twofold responsibility between the citizens and the business owners, or the residents and the business owners. So given the opportunity that you can maybe work together to mend those fences and be considerate of the neighbors, that they can come to you. I mean, my biggest concern was hearing a resident say, you know, you hung up on them when they called. And I mean, this is,
I don't remember that.
Sir,
however, this is just to my point. I'd like to give you an opportunity. That's why we spent this much time. We'd like to give all of our businesses a great opportunity, but that can't be at the expense of our residents. So I guess I would have to look at what could be proposed beyond this. Is this something that we could look at in that 30-day, and I would support that, and say, okay, if there are no complaints, then we can move forward with this.
and I can understand complaints about loud music with the doors open in taverns, because I've had them in my district.
Right.
I'm sure we've all had them. It is something that I know Alderman Rote and I don't tolerate in our district. We call the tavern keeper in right away if the neighbors start complaining about that, because that is not acceptable. That's what doors are for. I have no problem holding this, if that's the desire of the committee, to hold it until the next common council meeting. Is there, let me ask Mr. Stiebel a question. Mr. Stiebel, is there a need for a Safety and Development Committee meeting prior to the next council meeting? Well, I mean, is there anything in development that you need to have a meeting for? Because if there is, we could schedule this to meet on it at that Safety and Development Committee meeting, and then have it come up at the council, and we'd be able to spend more time on it.
Not at this time, Mr. Chair.
Actually, there is. You never finished introduction to the new alderpersons on development things that were going on in the city. We hit some major ones, but we didn't hit all the other ones.
Mr. Chairman, I stand corrected.
So let's schedule a meeting for whatever Wednesday is appropriate, because that's typically when we meet, if that's all right with the rest of the committee, Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. Let me suggest June 30th. Does that sound all right?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Decker?
That's a Tuesday, just, you said
Oh, I'm
Wednesday?
sorry.
Could we do it on a Tuesday?
Pardon?
I'm gone that next Wednesday.
Well, we can do it whenever. I'm just making a suggestion and see what works for everybody. 24th,
Tuesday?
next week, Wednesday? Oh, you can't do Wednesdays? We can do it on a Tuesday, the 23rd, I guess, or the 30th?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Nick.
If the intent of the subsequent meeting would be to consider approval of the permit, then the entire council would actually have to vote on it as well.
Oh, we can't approve it.
Okay.
But we can discuss it and talk about the police record, and we can set up any other terms that we need to set up with Mr. Pauly, and then it goes to the council at the next meeting for a formal approval, absolutely.
Very good.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
we wouldn't necessarily need the entire council, we just need a quorum, and if we have the entire Safety and Development Committee with the freshman alderpersons, I'm just trying to picture if that's a quorum.
That could be.
Because the purpose of the meeting is.
You would have to call it as a council meeting, but
Yeah,
if
we could
that's,
call it, I'm just trying to keep the ball rolling, yeah.
if that's a desire, we can certainly do that. Does the 23rd, next Tuesday, work for everyone?
Mr. Chairman, we have a Killing Park neighborhood meeting, I think, on the 20th.
Okay, how about 25th, the Thursday, is that all right?
Okay with me.
Okay, then let's schedule a meeting for Thursday, the 25th of June, and let's make sure that that we have 7 members of the council there. Is I'm in. 6 o'clock? Is that a time that?
Sure. Yep,
We
sounds
got
good.
1, Alderman Ranky, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, we'll have enough for a quorum. Yes. So the council, let's schedule a brief council meeting on that item after the Safety and Development Committee meeting. And then Mr. Pauly can have it addressed for 4th of July weekend then if he needs it. Because I would guess that would be a popular weekend to have it.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Rowe.
could we also have a
Mr.
police
Chair?
report of all the complaints?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
You got to get that. Alderman Grisham?
I just checked my calendar, and I'm booked out. I wouldn't be able to attend unless it would be a later meeting.
What time?
It would have to be after 7:30, which is a late meeting. But as
Or
I
a
own a
Monday,
business, unless it was on a Monday.
4,
If you did a Monday, I have flexibility.
6, 7. We've got 7, so if you can come into the meeting as you can, 7 or 7:30, whatever it is, I'm sure we'll still be going on.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Vitale.
yeah, I have, to me, a suggestion, to perhaps to make things more workable. The way I feel, still, I mean, this application could be approved, and then the 25th, we could put we could get the total updates or information from the police department or any complaints from the neighbors. To me, I think will be the easiest way to follow. I mean, I don't think it's any violation, right, Attorney?
Mr. Pauly, let me ask you a question. Is it going to kill you to wait till next week, Thursday?
I mean, we've been through this process for 2.5 months, so.
So one more week is. I know you want it. I'm just. I don't think it makes a big difference. Yeah.
I've been here 15 years, I've never done, so that's all I can say.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
if the plan is to approve today until the 25th, I would recommend making the deadline the 25th then, because you wouldn't want to necessarily have a date extended out longer in case the council wouldn't decide on that date that they did not want to renew the license. You wouldn't want to have that situation, so.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank
Chair, I want to ask Kale something.
Sure. Alderman
So, Kale,
Stefanski.
just so I'm aware, we passed something at License and Health already for this. Safety and Development, we're not passing something. How does that work with each other, so I got a complete understanding of it?
It's like firing a missile. Both keys have to be turned. If one key is not turned, then it doesn't fire. So you need both. If you only get one, it's not sufficient.
Okay, thank you.
Should have the public hearing first.
Okay, then this item is going to be held over until a special meeting Thursday, June 25th at 6 o'clock. And there is nothing else to come before the committee. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
License and Health comes to order. We don't need no roll call. All the members are present. I would like to first have the applicant, they're here tonight. And I'd like to move forward with item 37, petition to exceed the alcohol license quota submitted by Maria Rupina Karsaski, an agent for 2021 combination A liquor license for Rupina Incorporation, DBA Rupina, located at 7645 West Beloit Road. Any questions or on an motion from any committee members of the License and Health?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have issue with the fact that and it's outside of COVID even, we are being really inundated with a lot of requests for liquor licenses. And considering we have a self-imposed quota, we have to take a look at that, because everybody is coming to us. And if we have, what, 125 licenses? We have to really consider that. Now, we did take special consideration for Holiday Inn Express. I voted yes on that. But I have concerns with all these other businesses. We have a lot on the table, a lot on the agenda here, asking for liquor licenses.
Mr.
So
Chair?
where do we draw the line, if we already have drawn the line as far as a self-imposed quota?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is a Class A license, not the Class B license, which has the
Okay.
130-something quota. I believe Class A license, it's a self-imposed quota, but there is really no state quota on those. You can go to any amount you want. We're just saying that we have an ordinance here in West Allis that says we have self-imposed, that we only want this many. So,
Right, and
but there isn't a limit, there isn't a 130-something limit. So we don't have to worry about any limit. We can go to 200 if we wanted to.
Yes.
Okay, but then what is the point, and I'm sorry to say, but what's the point in having a self-imposed quota then? Then we might as well just change that ordinance and say, okay, there's no self-imposed quota on it, and
would
we
agree.
won't have to continue the pick and choose.
I would agree.
It just, as I said, that's where I stand on it. It puts me in a position as a new incoming alder, where, how do I make those decisions? And it feels like I'm offering preferential treatment to one over the other. So if it's fair game for one, it's fair game for all.
You know, I don't believe that's the issue here, but be realistic or be different with one applicant to another. The fact is, the business already was in process of development, you know, to open. So it's not a question of something happened, just Rupina came forward just, you know, to apply for the license. It was something already was in the making months ago. But with this crisis of the coronavirus, so they've been kind of holding back. So the fact is, it's a liquor, you know, it's a license A, so it's not something that it's going to be any type of B license that we issue at this time. So to me, I mean, I feel that, you know, they tried to do something good for the corner on 76 there and Beloit Road. To me, that's a good decision in our part. I believe we should kind of considering the fact that it's not something that is going to be bad operators, you know, or have something that we should be disappointed in the future, you know. Rupina Food, they've done so much for the city of West Allis, really. They donate so much things throughout the years, you know, they've done a lot. So to me, I mean, I don't want to deprive somebody that like to expand their operation, which they have the place already. I mean, they own it.
Mr.
So
Chair?
Yes. Go ahead.
I'd like to clarify, this is a Class A license. They already have a Class A license in their
Yeah, they do
store.
for the,
This is
grocery
another
store.
Class A license just for their catering business.
Yeah.
This is not for making another liquor store. It's for their catering business.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Okay, so according to what it says here, it's a petition to exceed the alcohol license quota, which is what we have, a quota they were looking to exceed, correct? Okay. Until we drop our quotas that we have self-imposed, anytime we get a license or a person coming in to apply to exceed our quotas, whether it's A, B, C, I am voting against because we have a quota that's self-imposed here. So we are going against our quota that we already have imposed. So until we lift those, I'm going to continue to vote no, and I'm backing Alderwoman Grisham on this too.
Any other questions from any
Alderperson.
committee members of License and Health?
Mr.
Any more
Chair,
questions?
Pardon my ignorance, but don't we need to go to public hearing, or is that just for Class B?
That's what Class B.
Just B? Okay, I did not know. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Alderman
Um,
Lysak?
I'd like to point out again, this is for catering. We've given the tall guys on Lincoln Avenue, a license for catering. Other people in the city have liquor licenses for catering. We're going to have an event center that's going to want a liquor license for catering. And we're going to have 2 event centers probably that are going to want liquor licenses for catering. If I'm to understand Alderman Stefanski, we tell these guys, don't bother putting in your event centers because there's no licenses available. We're at quota. I think this self-imposed quota is absolutely ridiculous. It's preventing businesses from locating in the city. I think it's something we ought to look at abolishing and taking a look at each case as they come and saying, does this fit the neighborhood? Does it fit the use? And you know, we talked about it about a year ago or so, eliminating the quotas, and I would suggest that we start looking at it again. I think that we want to encourage this type of business. We want to encourage the event center on 70th Street, and we want them to have a liquor license. We want to encourage the Balm project on National Avenue. We're going to want them to have a liquor license, and there's more developments coming that are going to want these liquor licenses. As long as we're judicious with who we're giving them to and not giving them to, you know, somebody who just wants to run a little corner tavern, that's a totally different story. So I think we've got to be looking at what we're doing it for, and I think this is exactly the kind of business that we want in West Allis.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you know,
Alderperson Eastman?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's why I'm asking as a incoming alder, what guidelines are we looking at? It is confusing in one way. So either we abolish it so we can go forward. I mean, it's practical. Of course, I support business. You know, Rapina's a staple in the community. But whereas if we, as a committee, approve one and not the other, then we're called to the carpet and said, okay, why are you not approving this one, but you approve that? So with that being said, then we need to bring that to the table and abolish that self-imposed quota. But until then, I was looking for guidance on this. So it's nothing against Rapina's whatsoever, or any other business. I want to see businesses succeed as well.
Mr. Chair, if I could address the quote issue? Or Mr. Chair, if I could address the quote
Yes,
issue?
yeah, that's okay.
I was looking at you the whole time before.
That's okay, that's okay.
Sorry. So the self-imposed quota is something that is only in West Allis, and the same standard for overcoming the quota is a majority vote, which is the same standard for approving a license. So what it really only does is add one more layer of approvals. The same people who vote to exceed the quota would also vote to approve a license. And so the quota itself, the city, let's say this, in the past, I think the advice to the council was that there was some obligation to approve an alcohol license. There was some suggestion that that was what the council had to do. That is a differing opinion than what I have. Based on my research and what I'd be willing to defend, the council is free to deny any new alcohol license just because they don't want another alcohol license, and that's that simple. It doesn't matter. You could pick a location. You could say there's too many in this location. You could just say we don't want any more in the city, and it is the council's right to draw that, what might appear to the outside world, an arbitrary line. And that is something that's easily defensible based on hundreds of years of case law. So the council should not feel any obligation to issue a license under any circumstances. And the quota itself is something that the council itself would just simply impose through its own vote. It does not have to look to anything on the books necessarily. So with the quota, it is a standard that the council must overcome. If the quota was repealed for any reason, the council would still have to have the exact same vote to approve an alcohol license, and I would not feel any hesitation to defend the council's decision to deny a new alcohol license at any point in time.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, yes.
But if we abolish the quota, then we would have one vote on approving the license or not, and we wouldn't have to worry about the quota that we have self-imposed anymore, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You know, in the past, you know, always been, you know, years ago it used to be an issue in reference of, no, we used to have a lot of corner taverns, which I'm really happy at this time that it's been reduced. But the fact that is, for years, many businesses in West Allis, they tried to requesting, have a outdoor dining, So back 20-some years ago, the council was very persistent on the fact to have outdoor dining, was some problem that would incur with the neighbors, would be some discrepancies, would cause not good living standards for the neighborhood. But the fact is today, we have quite a few outdoor dinings, and I don't think we ever got a complaint from any of those establishments. So the fact is that, it's about time that we really try to help some of the small business in our community. I mean, I totally feel there is no reason at all that somebody tried to spend maybe $500,000 or $400,000, whatever the amount would be, to deny that person to get a Class A license. Then, if with all our developments, somebody invests $20, $30 million, we have been giving already, liquor licenses, without any problem, any questions have been raised about this. So to me, that's totally, for a small business, that's what we're here for, try to revive or to help small business. And some of them, they've been here for years. They've been paying their taxes, they've been support the communities, so how can we say, well, I'm not willing to give this business place or go over the quota because, that's the way it stands for. That's what I believe. So to me,
Chairman?
that's something you should be considering, really. Thank you.
Road.
Any question? Road, yes.
I move for approval of the Class A liquor license, item 37 for Rapinas.
Seconds?
Second.
All in favors?
No discussion.
Or discussions? Go ahead.
Maria has shown, basically, Mr. Chair and council members, has shown that she has a reputable business. And we try and encourage our businesses. And this is one way we can encourage a good business to succeed. So that is why I second the motion.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just want Rapinas to know I'm a big supporter of local business and I support them. But until our quota is abolished, I cannot vote yes for it. So, thank you.
So we have a second. All in favor of the applications?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes?
No.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
3-2.
Was 3, right? 3.
Or were you aye or?
I vote aye.
No, then yeah.
What did Grisham?
3-2.
No.
Yeah.
She said no?
I guess so.
So what's 2? 3. Okay. So then we move on to item 38. 2021 Class B Tavern License Application of Ricky Restaurant LLC, Cordelia Calva Vasquez, Agent, DBA, El Paso Mexican Food, 6533 West Mitchell Street, new existing location, which is the farmer house, I believe. So any questions regarding the applications for new and existing locations?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I think you skipped over a number of, I don't know what order you're in. Where are you?
38.
You're on 38. We started at 26, but you started at
No,
37.
that's why I took those 3 items first, because the applicants are here. That's the reason I
Okay,
did.
thank you. I appreciate the
That's why, no
clarification.
reason to make them wait,
I
you
wasn't
know?
quite sure, so thank you.
That's the reason.
Thank you.
So any questions about the item 38? Any questions? No questions?
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Seconds?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Noes, the eye have it. So now we continue with item 40, which I believe the applicant is here tonight. So it's 2021 Class B Tavern Alcohol License Application of Interest Concession LLC, Jacob Keloty, Agent, DBA Holiday Inn Express, West Dallas, 10201 West Lincoln Avenue, new existing location. Any questions?
Where is he? 40.
40, you gotta go back on the agenda, item 40. That's the only 3 items, which they're on the bottom.
I move approval.
You can't.
You can't.
That was Rosie.
You move for approval, Rosalie?
No, I didn't. No.
Everybody took a nap.
I mean, any discussions?
God, doesn't anybody want motions?
I don't have it on there.
No discussions. All in favor of the applications?
Oh, you don't have a motion?
No, we have to have a motion.
The motion, nobody will make the motion. So the
I'll
motion,
I'll
Mr.
make a
Chair.
motion so it moves forward.
seconds,
What did he say?
What was the
to
motion?
approve,
Second?
Alderman Stefanowski, to approve,
Okay, second.
all discussion.
I'm making a motion so this moves forward because nobody's made a motion.
It's gonna be a motion to approve or
To
deny.
approve or deny?
What is it? What's it?
I make a motion to deny.
No seconds. So the motion goes dead. So
Mr.
now-
Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm appalled that people on this council are afraid to make a motion or a second a motion. You've got an issue before you, take a stand and make a motion one way or the other, don't just sit there.
Yes. So again, we fall back on the same concern, an issue. I mean, we had on Lincoln Avenue, a building, they stood there vacant for years. So the fact stands, a new developer come forward, spend millions of dollars to bring something good for the community. It's gonna bring some tax bases, and we play around, I mean, with the fact of issuing the license. I mean, we don't wanna go back and set this practice, West Allis is not a good place to do business. Really, that's what we're doing tonight, in all fairness.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I apologize. I apologize to all the other older persons, and I agree. We need to move forward, and I encourage business. I'm making a motion to approve, and any other business that we have as far as the quotas, I think we can take it up at another time. So my apologies to all other council members this evening.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in
Discussion?
favor of the motion? For discussions again, I mean,
Discussion? Do I understand this is so the hotel can have mini bars?
yes,
Is that the reason?
yes, that's the
Or
gentleman
is-
who just
Are
spoke
they
tonight.
having a bar basically in the hotel for its patrons?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, yeah, that's, I mean, small bar.
This
Go
is
ahead.
what was at the public hearing.
Yeah, we had, that's
So it
in
was
We had
there.
a
one
public
mini
hearing,
bar
yes.
in the mutual
I just want
area.
confirmation of this.
No, it would just allow alcohol sales from the desk.
The front desk.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
as the applicant stated, the intent would be to have essentially a service area in one location, located somewhere in the lower level, I'm sure, operated by staff, in which they'd be selling containers to their own occupants of the building.
I
There would
see.
not be necessarily a bar or anything like that, or there would not be service within the rooms either. That was what was explained to us earlier.
This is in their store proper, they will be selling?
They will have some sort of store, I'm assuming near the check-in area or near the lobby area in which they will be selling alcohol from that location.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor of the application?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Then we continue on with item 26. Under new matter for introductions. So item 26 is an ordinance to create and expedite approval process for temporary extension of Class B license premises, amending Section 9.025. And 27, I believe it's the same thing, expedite temporary extension, just as well. Any questions? Go ahead.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This was brought to the council as a way of responding to the COVID-19 crisis. The idea was that an ordinance could be presented to this council and create an expedited way for existing alcohol licensees to extend their premises outside their building. It comes along with essentially a quick application that can be submitted to the clerk. It'll come before this council, and then a batch approval until the subsequent council meeting. So you're going to see in item 27, those who have submitted their applications for
Yes.
tonight later, should this ordinance pass, they'd be considered. If this ordinance does not pass, then there would be nothing for the council to consider under item 27. The gist of it is that every licensee is eligible to make this application. It would extend their premises out to the parking lots and private property, as long as that private property can be enclosed in some manner so that ingress, egress can be controlled. And then if they wanted to, they could also extend it onto a public sidewalk. That area would not have to be enclosed in any manner. However, they have to maintain a 3-foot walking path. They have to assume liability for what happens in that sidewalk area. And then any damages that would occur to any third parties would be the responsibility of the licensee. But they'd be given a privilege in the sidewalk for just tables and chairs, nothing else. The application process is relatively quick. Other conditions that would put on every single person include the similar timelines that were discussed for another license applicant tonight, 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Friday through Saturday, and also they'd be still required to comply with the code requirements for providing restrooms based on the maximum occupants. One of the things that the council would have to do if they wanted to pass this ordinance tonight is establish a fee, if any. It's a blank line right now, so if anyone does want to make a motion to approve this ordinance, I'd ask that you say what that fee amount should be. There really isn't a limitation under state laws what that fee could be. It could be a zero, or it could be several $100s. As long as it does not exceed the cost of actually processing the application, the council is okay with it. Or the law would be okay with the council doing that. And again, it automatically only approves the application until the next subsequent regular council meeting. At that point in time, that license expires. It is not a renewal situation. It means it expires, so that there is no justification or need to give an explanation to an applicant as to why it's not being approved again. It eliminates the need to have any type of hearing or due process, because the property right is limited to the next council meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just as Mr. Dicker, as an explanation, does this mean that if I own a business and I want to take advantage of this extension, I have to come back every month?
No. So the actual applicants don't have to appear here. It's just that the application would appear on every meeting agenda item as one batch.
Do they have to come in and file another application?
No.
No, okay.
It'd be as long as nothing changes from their original application, they want to just continue with their
Right.
same application, they can continue without making any appearances or submitting any further
Okay.
paperwork.
Thank you.
So any more questions in regard to the extension, temporary extension?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Does the fee have to be put in the motion?
Yes, only because it's blank currently on this version.
Okay.
Would you have in mind any fees that we can probably approve tonight?
I have a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve with the fee of $50.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. But still, we got to vote on 26 and 27.
Number 27, Mr. Chair, is the list of applicants who
Yes.
applied under this. So
Yes.
this would be approval of all those who have applied, and then that license period would expire on July 15th, essentially.
15, okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Now we move on with item 28, stipulation of the matter of complaints against Booster West LLC, Keith Rundolph, licensed agent DBA Booster West for premises located 7731 West Pitcher. Any questions? Probably,
Mr. Chair?
go ahead.
Item 28, 29, and 30 are going to be similar. I'll address each one as they're called by the chair. Number 28 involves a bar that was open during the stay-at-home order. It was, I believe this one was only during the local stay-at-home order, not the state one. But what they've done is essentially, Attorney Serwin negotiated with them the idea of having a 2-day closure period in lieu of receiving a complaint for that violation. And so, based upon the discussions at a prior meeting from License and Health, Attorney Serwin negotiated this one as being a 2-day closure. So it's up to the committee to decide how to proceed. The dates upon which they were closed actually were yesterday and today. That was a timing issue with, Attorney Serwin believed that it would be handled the 9th as to why those dates were selected. But if there's any questions on that, I'm happy to answer.
Attorney Serwin, I believe he did a great job to, take his time to contact those 3 establishments in a really nice fashion. So I feel that they agree upon to the closure of those 2 days of each violators. So at this point, I need an motion to place it on file.
To approve.
To approve
To
it,
approve.
place on file.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the stipulations for 28, 29, and 30.
Se-
All in favors?
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have a question. Was this closure on top of a municipal fine for them being open? My understanding at the front of this discussion is that these violators were facing a municipal fine and that this closure was going to be on top of that. Are they still getting municipal fines?
Yes, there are
Okay.
citations will be issued to those who are open.
Yes, they get it, yeah.
This is just the ones who were open.
Repeatedly and there blatantly, yes, I get that, I just wanted to make sure that they weren't just paying a penalty of having to be closed for the same number of days that they were illegally open, because that's no penalty then.
Correct. So,
Yeah, you-
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
there are 3 tiers of establishments. Those who are Class Bs who did not open obviously received nothing as far as a penalty. Those who opened received tickets. Those who opened and then remained open after being informed they need to close were these 3.
Were those 3, okay. Thank you.
So the fact is that fundamentally, really, it's so disgusting because they disrespect the police, really pay a visit to those locations. To me, that's misrespect our police department, really. I mean, they disregard the law. Basically, that's what they did. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
just because I believe the motion was to approve the stipulations for 28, 29, and 30, correct?
Yes.
yes.
Right.
Just to cover the bases, 29, Slurp and Burp for the 15th, 22nd, and 29th, and then Havana Lounge for the 14th and 21st.
Very good.
And then the
So-
vote was,
It was unanimous. We all said aye.
thank you.
So any more questions? I mean, on the motion? We did already,
We
yes.
already did
yeah.
that.
Okay. Now we move on to item 31, is police report regarding the no taverns violation call for service for the month of May. Boy, that's great.
I make a motion to place on file.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? The ayes have it. So we move on to item 32, renewal applications, certain alcohol license, adult oriented establishment operator permits, arcade license, amusement, pornography, distributor license, manufactured mobile home, community renewal license, second-hand article dealer license, second-hand jewelry dealer license, salvage and reclining center license, used vehicle dealer license, and operator license, bartender, sales clerks. So any questions from the members of the committee?
Move to approve the renewal applications.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? The aye have it. So we move on to item 33, 2019-2020, Class B Tavern Special Event Permit, number 25th of John Star Pickles LLC, DBA Broken Star Saloon, John R. Star Agent, 1100 South 60th, for a Sting Star Chopper Show to be held on Sunday, June 26th at noon, from 8 p.m. back in parking lot. Dance, outdoor music, first permit application for 2019-20 license year. So any questions? I believe, I think he done it before this location, so never was any problem.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Is the agent present so we know what the
No, I don't think
State
he
Star
is.
Chopper
No.
Show is about?
No, he's not. He's not.
He's not here?
No.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I believe it's a motorcycle show. Is what it is.
Yeah.
What is this Sting
Pe-
Show?
People will come with their motorcycles and just have them on display.
Oh, it's a motorcycle. I see.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I
Alderman
believe
Road?
they had it last year, and it was down 2 blocks of streets, whatever the
Yes.
west is.
Thank you.
Walker, Washington, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is, Washington.
Okay, but this is just in the parking lot this time, correct?
Yes, in the back.
Okay, move for approval.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
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 Noes? The aye have it. All right. Now we go on to item 35.
34.
34, I mean, sorry about that. 2021 Class B Tavern Special Event Permit
I will
application.
move for approval on that one, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Keep going, road.
Oh, I'm glad, you're quick. I'm glad you.
I'm about 35.
Any seconds?
I second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? The aye have it. Thank you. I like that. So we go on to item 35. Appointment of new agent.
Move to
Dan
approve.
Van
Second.
Nugent. All in favors?
Aye.
Yeah.
Quick.
Opposed? The aye have it. I'm glad you guys are
Telling you.
efficient.
The crowd goes wild.
All right. Okay, item 36. Request and amend permit station number 6 located on 68 West
I will move for
Beecher.
approval on that.
I'll second.
Oh, I like that. Second?
Second.
All right. All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Those, the aye have it. Boy, you guys are so efficient.
It's all from the left side here, by the way.
You guys are really, I like that, really. So we go on to item 30, no,
We
not,
didn't do 38.
yeah, we did already, right.
We did 38.
So 39 and
I will move for
38,
approval on
39,
that
and
one, Mr.
40.
Chair.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a question. Who is this
Those-
Martin Weigel guy? Just kidding.
Okay.
That's an
Make a
aye.
motion to adjourn the meeting. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Never mind, I missed
No,
the
no,
other one.
no.
Never mind.
Oh, we got.
We
I pull that
already,
back, Sorry.
we thought, we have 45, 44, and 46 was approved by the License and Health Committee at 5:30, so I believe we all set. So I need an emotion to adjourn.
Oh, what do we got?
guys did all of this before.
41, and we did it already.
43 through 46,
Yeah.
Alderman, didn't you?
didn't have those.
Allis.
43 through 46 we gotta do.
No.
That was my
Operator
mistake on that.
license.
43 to 46?
Yep.
Yeah, those are
43.
operator license. But
didn't
we
have-
vote on those,
No,
right?
No, we did
didn't?
not.
I thought we did.
no.
41 and 40.
These
I
are
mean,
new.
license and health.
No, he was talking about.
All right, we'll do it.
Special.
43, 44, and 45, 46 are all for operator license. So, any questions for those two applicants? Have any-
Mr. Chair, we're going to address 41 and 42 at all either, just because right now, as it stands, both of those were approved at the committee level and would be heard by the council tonight later. Just want to make sure that everyone's.
So you want to
understanding
do 41,
He should,
42?
he should-
And that both of those were approved with certain conditions, but based on the prior discussion.
Yes.
Those items will be going to the council as approved earlier tonight.
Yeah, we
Prior
did.
to the discussion.
Okay.
Chair,
I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that.
Yeah.
for 41 and 42, we should schedule for the June 25th meeting,
Mr. Chair,
Well, that's what,
council meeting.
41, there's nothing against, correct? There's no complaints against 41. It was 42, correct?
That's what I'm trying to, I guess I want to make sure the council's aware of this. So
Yes.
if the council interpreted the comments tonight to mean that, then there's an opportunity to take a separate action with number 42.
Okay. All right, so 41 we should be addressing right now.
41 was already approved unless there's an interest
Yep.
in changing what happened
Okay,
earlier.
I follow you.
If 42 is something you want to change, now would be the time to do so.
Okay.
41's approved.
so on the emotion, 42.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to put on file or review the Polly's field trip based on the three residents that spoke. They spoke more to
Okay.
Polly's field trip and not Polly's itself, or the corner property in Greenfield.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to ensure I get the movement's intention correct, is the intent to deny or the intent to postpone until the 25th?
Postpone until the 25th,
Thank you.
please.
Mr.
So-
Chair,
Any other questions, Alderman Lysak?
Mr. Decker, does that mean that if Mr. Pauly's application is to be approved on that evening, that License and Health Committee is also going to have to schedule a meeting to discuss item 42?
My understanding was that this was going to be a council meeting, and so it would be referred for full council discussion that evening.
Okay, so we can do it there.
Correct.
Fine, thank you.
So 41's approved, 42's on post.
So we have an emotion, second? All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So then I'll move on, 43 through 46. Those are all operator licensee. So anybody has any questions, or Cal, has any questions about any records?
I think we have those.
Mr. Chair, I don't believe I have the records on these, actually. So unfortunately, I don't have it for the committee
We
right
had
now.
theirs.
Yeah, I believe, I mean, there's no really any records for denial, really.
We have
I
record
assume
on,
the committee had those.
We
we have
have
a record
records.
on, let's see,
I think one, I think it was.
on 2 of them.
I move to approve number 43.
Second,
All in favors?
aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Then we move on to 44, operator license, bartender
I
sales.
move to deny number
Second.
44.
Second on 44.
44 for denial?
Deny.
And he seconded it.
Oh, all in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 45, operator license, bartender sales clerk, application of Jessica Schlick.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
No.
All right, one knows, so opposed, no. I have it. Then we go 46. Operator license, bartender, sales clerk, application of Dean R. Dombrowski.
Make a motion for denial.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? the ayes have it. Any further questions before we adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Advisory Committee come to order. Let the minutes reflect that all members are present. First on the agenda is number 47, resolution in support of law enforcement officers of the West Allis Police Department.
Make a
My
motion.
comment is Chief Mitchell runs a fine department. I have to commend him. And this is to show the council support for all of our officers
Make a motion for approval.
in these critical
Second.
times. It's been moved. Is there a second?
A second, yep.
Moved and second. Any more discussion?
Madam Chair,
Alderman Lysick.
I support this resolution strongly. I think we have a very good police department and a very good public police and fire commission. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. We've had problems with officers in the past. There haven't been many, but whenever there was a bad apple in the bunch, the police administration and the police and fire commission took proper action and either disciplined or terminated that employee. We have a continuous improvement program throughout the city in all of our departments, and the police department has been one of the departments that's been out in front with continuous improvement. Several years ago, we hired an accreditation officer at the request of the police administration. This accreditation officer is charged with reviewing the policies and procedures of the police department on a regular basis. I spoke with the chief today, and he said he does it weekly. The Police and Fire Commission also review policies and procedures on a regular basis. And this is just absolutely required today because of the advances and changes in technology and the changes in society. I've talked to the chief today, and he has agreed to make a presentation to us hopefully at the next council meeting, if we can arrange it, on what the police department is doing regarding policies and procedures and addressing the circumstances that have happened around the country in the last few weeks. So hopefully we can get that for the next council meeting.
Thank you, Alderman Lysick. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we have number 48, resolution regarding racial equality as part of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Council.
Move to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 49 is a resolution to sponsor a parade organized by Alderman Tracy Stefanski along West Greenfield Avenue and South 70th Street on July 4th, 2020. Alderman Stefanski, would you like to elaborate on your parade plans?
Looking to put together a parade that's going to run the normal parade route down Greenfield to 70th and then over to Veterans Park where it usually ends. And it's going to be a motorized only parade. It'll be with motorcycles. The American Legion Riders Association will be part of it. There's a truck group that did a special thing for Memorial Day at the VA. They want to be part of it. The classic car groups, muscle car groups. I have Jerry Matters from the tractor group. He wants to bring tractors in on the parade. And I have support from Chief Mitchell and Chief Pooler for police and fire vehicles in the parade as well. It would start about, the time that we're figuring to start is going to be 6 o'clock. There will be no marching, no vendors will be coming along the sides of the parade route. People can choose to come and, view the parade, wear their masks if they want to, do social distancing, whatever they feel keeps them safe. And start at 6 o'clock and go anywhere from a half an hour to an hour, depending on how many vehicles we have in it.
Have the groups basically solidified these plans?
All have confirmed, yes.
They all have confirmed. Have you looked at any costs that,
No,
because we will be using our staff, correct?
correct.
So there's costs derived for having the parade.
It would be it would be putting out the barricades, and then if the
Right.
police chose to block off streets. Otherwise, Chief Mitchell said if we're not doing it that way, he would have a vehicle escorting, like, for like an example would be a funeral procession. There would be a police vehicle in the front, and a police vehicle would be at the end of the parade route.
I've also asked our city engineer to actually make reservations, you might say. Pete, you want to comment on this? In the event that the vote is positive?
Yeah, I already discussed with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, since it's a state highway, and the bus company, just put them on alert. There's no fee. I just wanted to give them 2 weeks' notice, not a big deal. So if we end up not doing it, I'll just tell them we're not doing it, but they're aware of it at this point.
All right, thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Madam Chair, I have a question for...
Alderman Grisham.
Thank you. I have a question for Alderman Stefanski. Will this impact local business? And have you contacted any of those businesses?
I've talked briefly with some business owners, but it would just be like our normal parade. It's just, it would be vehicles instead of people walking up and down the parade routes, riding bicycles. And it would be a slow-moving vehicle parade, and it would impact businesses as far as maybe bring more people to the business while they're open.
Okay, that's an option. I was just curious if any notification was sent out or
I
that you
didn't-
spoke with them in
I
advance.
just talked to a few of them,
Okay.
and they're all very supportive of it.
Right.
You have indicated the times 5 to 8. Do you feel that the parade would last that long?
I put it in that time frame for getting everybody organized to start at 6 o'clock. And if it lasted for an hour, then an hour to clean up if there was any cleanup that needed to be done.
I see. Would the mayor like to make a comment regarding this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my other question I had was regarding if Public Works has been contacted, if we're gonna need extra refuse or street sweepers, and the health department as well. Just, I know right now, it's all recommendations that we're operating under. However, there's, Phase C, I believe, limits gatherings to 50 people. I have to believe 50 people along all of Greenfield Avenue would not be a problem. I don't even know if 50 people per block on either side of Greenfield Avenue would be a problem, but my bigger questions are Public Works and expenses regarding cleaning up and just the prepping of getting the barricades out and the costs associated with that, and if they're in the budget.
Hadn't talked to them about that yet because I was waiting to see where we went with allowing it to happen or not. So I hadn't talked to them about costs or anything with that yet.
Madam Chair, I have some questions.
Alderman.
I have some questions and a comment. We're not talking about making the streets no parking for this time period, so there's not going to be so as a business owner on Greenfield Avenue, I mean, cars will still be allowed to park the normal, so it wouldn't have that same traditional parade feel as much. But the the parade would be taking all the travel lanes, both directions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the comment I would make is, when it comes to cleanup, my experience is that most of the cleanup they have to do after a parade is from all the food vendors who show up and the guys selling all the, junky animals and the things you throw on the ground and pop and all that stuff. So I would not expect that a vehicle-only parade would generate a lot of garbage. I, for one, would have no problem sweeping up my block like I typically would the evening after a 4th of July parade anyways.
And I was planning on walking the route after the parade was over with.
I guess I'm glad to know that we're not all losing our parking on, is 4th of July a Saturday night? Yeah, so, thank you.
Mrs. Chair,
Alderman Vitale.
The other question that I have is, who, the liabilities of, by holding a parade without the sponsorship of the city? You know, I mean, that's one thing that we should kind of clarify on that, you know? I mean, we want to make sure that we don't get to any lawsuits or any troubles, you know?
Madam Chair?
Attorney Decker?
It really would depend on what would occur, but generally, the people participating in the parade would be the ones who would be risking liability for their own actions. The only city employees that are acting would be the police and fire department, so there would be the typical liability that's associated with operating those vehicles and those
Okay.
personnel.
Very good, thanks.
Thank you. Alderman Stefanski, would you like to explain why you wanted to have this parade?
With everything being canceled over the summer, I felt that we just need something to celebrate the patriotism of our country and, you know, the independence that we celebrate on the 4th of July. And it's something, it's not completely abandoning everything. And that was my reasoning behind it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Alderman
Grisham.
Alderman Stefanski, if the city does not sponsor and we do not vote to approve, will you proceed and go forward with this event?
I will apply for a permit to go forward with the event.
Okay, so you have secured participation and plan to move forward either way?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? Entertain a motion?
Here we go again. I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Number 50, we have the appointment of Alderperson Angelito.
Move to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. He's favored right now. All those opposed?
You mean all those in favor?
All those, yes.
Aye.
All excited.
Did you vote for yourself?
Oh, thank you. Number 51, can be placed on file.
Make a motion, place on file.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a
Carried.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
All right, we will call the council back to order, and I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Keen.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Stefanski.
Here.
Tenorio.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum. We will start with the Administration and Finance Committee, which is chaired by Alderperson Haas and will be read out by our clerk.
The Administration and Finance Committee recommended the following, approval of the following, number 7, items 15 through 18. And then, I'm sorry, placing on file items 7, 15, 16, 17, and 18, recommending approval of items 18 through 14, and 19 and 20.
8 through 14.
Yes, 8 to 14, sorry.
It's all right.
And 20A, we gotta address.
And 20A.
And I move for approval of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Any discussion? Questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
10 in favor.
Motion carries. Next up, we have the Public Works Committee chaired by Alderman Rote. I'll ask the clerk to read out those 2 items.
Items, the committee recommended approval of items 21 and 22.
Move for approval based on the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Rowe. Any questions on the Public Works Committee? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Safety and Development Committee, chaired by Alderman Lysick. I'll ask the clerk to read out that agenda.
The Safety and Development Committee recommended approval of items 23 and 24.
I move for approval of the Safety and Development Committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Lysick. Any questions on the Safety and Development Committee report? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item carries. Next up, the License and Health Committee, which is chaired by Alderman Vitale. I'll ask the clerk to read out that report.
The License and Health Committee recommended the following: approval of items 26 through 30, 32 through 41, and item number 43. Placing on file item 31, denying items 41 and 46 placed on the police report, and item 45 was passed on a 4-to-1 vote.
I move for approval of the committee report.
We have a motion, and I just want to make sure we have separate action on item 37. That was a 3-to-2 vote. And I believe item 39 will be an abstention.
And item 40.
And 40, at a 4-to-1. I wasn't fully listening to every detail you read, so I'm sorry if you got those or not.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I think 45 also would be separate.
Right. That's 4-to-1.
okay. So on everything our clerk read out, except items 37, 39, 40, and 45. Am I correct?
30, 40, not 30 now.
Is 45 a
37.
split vote or no?
No. 45 was a
39 is
split,
because of
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
not 45.
right. What was 40? 'Cause I don't hear.
40 was a 4-to-1 vote for
40 is
the
a Holiday Inn.
alcohol license for Holiday Inn Express.
Thank you,
And 39 is Alderman Weigel, so he will abstain.
thank you.
So on everything else, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And then item 37. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Wait, we're voting, what's the motion? The motion is to approve, right?
To approve 37.
All right then, thank you. That's what I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure of.
Sure.
Alderperson Grisham.
I'd like to say something before I vote. I voted no, and I was looking for guidance on our self-imposed quota. And in light of reflection, I would like to change my vote to a yes for 37.
Okay.
Thank you.
So say aye.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
No.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
The vote is 9-1.
Motion carries. And now we have a motion, I believe, to approve item 39. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on item 39.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Abstain.
9 in favor, 1 abstention.
Motion carries, and now we have item 40. There's no discussion on item 40. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky. Aye. Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
No.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
9 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll go to the advisory committee, which is,
45.
sorry, 45.
That was a 4-1 vote.
That was a 4-1, okay. I thought I heard
is
that
it
somebody said it wasn't
44?
4-1, I'm sorry. Item 45 then, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
We got 44.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
No.
Rote.
Aye.
Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
9 in favor, 1 opposed.
This item carries. Thank you. Now we conclude the License and Health Committee and we move on to the Advisory Committee, which is still chaired by Alderperson Ranky, and I will ask the clerk to read out that report.
The committee recommended approval of items 47 through 50 and the place on file item 51.
Move
Second.
approval of the committee report.
We have a motion.
Your
Thank
Divine.
you, Alderperson Ranky. Are there any questions on that report?
Do we need a second?
No.
Mr. Mayor,
Don't second any.
Alderman Vitale.
I have 2 questions for those 2 appointments. I want to make sure that they're the right persons for those committees, you know. I don't know if I know them too well, you know. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I want to make sure, you know, if they're
All right, Madam
in
Clerk,
good
please call the
stand, you
roll.
know.
Alderperson Grisham.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. Lysick.
Aye.
Ranky.
Aye.
Rote. Stefanski.
Aye.
Tenorio.
Aye.
Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting, Tuesday, July 14th at 7 PM.
Second. All right, everybody say.
Everyone couldn't say that quick enough.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, aye, aye.
We are adjourned.